Hey there, Cancer Ascendant. This is your Ascendant forecast taking you from Monday, the 1st of December to Sunday, the 7th of December, 2025. Now, as I'm recording this, Mercury is still retrograde, and this is why I'm recording this for the second time today. The first time I recorded it, I didn't have the sound on. I didn't have my mic turned up. So anyway, I'm going to do this properly. So hopefully I'll be okay at this. Now, one of the things about this week ahead is that we've got the full moon coming up on Thursday the 4th in the sign of Gemini. And this is going to be hitting into your 12th house. And, you know, the 12th house is a place of intuition. It's a place of coming back into yourself. It's quite private. It's quite quiet, quite reserved. So you may well find, you know, midweek in this week ahead that you feel a little bit out of sorts. You know, it can stir up a lot of things from your unconscious mind. And so it's not always comfortable when we get to face our inner selves quite as much as we do. But anyway, there's a few things worthy of discussion in this forecast. Now, what I really see is there are a few key times when things are going on. And so what I want to do is pace you through this week ahead, cluing you into the planetary picture and giving you some helpful advice and tips on how you might handle that energy best. If you're new to this channel, by the way, my name's Louisa. Hi, and welcome to Feel Good Astrology. As ever, I'm going to start by just sharing a little bit of thanks to all the people who support me on this channel, in this channel, whether you're doing it historically, regularly, through my community. Thank you so very much. Anyway, this is a whole sign Western tropical forecast. And what I mean by that is that, like, you've got Cancer Ascendant or Cancer Rising sign, as it's also known. When you look at your birth chart, if you see that you've got the symbol for Cancer and also the symbol for Leo in your first house, i.e. this little wedge here, then it's also important to listen to the Leo forecast, because there's going to be a lot in there that's going to be super helpful for you. But anyway, with this forecast, I'm assuming that there's one sign per house, and there are 12 houses in this forecast or in this chart. And this is the first chart from literally the beginning of Monday, Monday, the 1st of December at midnight, set in London. And then this chart here is for midnight on literally right at the end of Sunday, again in London time. You know, I'm based in a London time zone. I'm actually speaking to you from Portugal, but we're in the same time zone as London, and it's just so central. So essentially the moon is going from the top of your chart in the 10th house in Aries right the way through to this very important house known as the first house, which is a place where you're really coming into your own. So I'm going to guide you through this now. Now, a couple of things about this week ahead. Oops, I've gone too far. No. A couple of things about my energy. So jumpy today, isn't it? A couple of things about this energy in this week ahead is at the start, Venus has literally just gone into the sign of Sagittarius. And by the end of this week, you'll see that there's this emerging picture of this groundwater trine, and also this opposition between Uranus and Mercury. Now, this opposition is going to perfect actually in the following week, so I'll be talking about that more from the 8th to the 14th. But this grand water trine, this is the last time we're really coming into this grand water trine. This has been coming up and disbanding and reforming and disbanding, reforming since really throughout the whole of autumn. You know, so we had Mars come into this third corner, then we had the Sun in this corner, then we had Venus in this corner, and now Mercury. Mercury actually went past it, retrograded through it a second time, and is going into it for the last time. And so this has really been a very sort of active motif of autumn, and it's really talking about your ability to be in self-expression. And so that's definitely a theme. Now, from next week, this is really easing off. And so what I really see about this week is you're coming to the end of a time of self-expression. No doubt this whole of autumn, you've been learning how to expand your personality a bit more, feel a lot more like yourself. At the same time, you've been exploring how to lift yourself up, how to do the things that you love to do, how to get into a creative flow, how to really work with passion, and also what it might take for you to evolve spiritually as well. So you haven't just wanted to be creative. One of the things that's really going on for you right now is almost like this clearing of the old ideas about who you are, and this reaffirming that you're a spiritual being. And so, yeah, this is a very, very sort of strong wrapping up time as you're coming to the end of this. And in particular, as of next week's forecast, which funnily enough, I've already recorded, this time with the sound on, I know that you'll be kind of letting go of this pattern. But for this pattern in this week ahead, one of the standout things is this full moon in Gemini. So I'm going to pace you through it right now. So as we come into the start of this week, on Monday the 1st, there's not too much energy. The moon is coming into a little bit of a question mark with Chiron later on in the day on Monday the 1st. And essentially what's going on is there's a sense of, I'd say, emotionalism about your purpose. There's this sense of, oh my God, why am I back here again? When will I ever know what it is I'm meant to do? And so there's this feeling of questioning your legacy and your reason for being here. Now, when we head into the 2nd, we're really, I think, there's this sense of how do I work with other people? And I think this fits in very much with the current position of Mars, the Sun, and also Venus that are in the 6th house. Now, initially this happened with Mars, now it's happening with the Sun, and later on it's going to be happening with Venus as of next week. And that is that there is this T-square energy to the nodes across the 3rd house and the 9th house. And so last week you had Mars working with the south and north nodes in the 6th house. The 6th house is a place of our stories. And so you've had some stories about the action that you take and how you are developing as an individual. And you probably had some tension around the stories that other people have had about you, in terms of what it is that your purpose is. So for instance, if you grew up with a really sort of strong family ethic, or if you grew up in a where you grew up, and you had your school peers, your siblings, your cousins, your aunts, your uncles, and the sort of community ethic that you grew up with, the story narrative that's been seeded in your life, right now it's in a square to Mars, and it will be in a square to the Sun at the time of the full moon, and then as we're coming into next week, it's going to also be in a square to Venus, FYI. But this is really challenging the stories that you've got, and so the stories of what you're taking action on need to be updated, and that's one of the things that's coming up in this week ahead. It's almost as if you've been doing the things according to what you've been taught to do, and yet it's causing you problems because the North Node is showing where you're developing yourself, and where you're developing yourself is to have some freedom, is to have some spiritual freedom, to have some philosophical freedom, religious freedom, a feeling of political freedom as well, also a feeling of freedom from the location that you grew up in. And so to me, this is about kind of shaking off and casting off everything that you learnt about yourself as an individual, and if you're in your 40s or above, you might be going through this for the 2nd time because, this comes around every 18 or 19 years, or even the 3rd time. And, as this energy comes in, it's like it's a reboot. It's reminding you that actually now is the time for you to let go of the expectations of the past and head into the future with no expectations other than that you're finding your freedom and you're connecting in a new way. And so Mars has been doing this. And so you might have felt a little bit of tension around that. And with Mars in the 6th house as well, you might have burnt the candle at both ends a little bit, as often happens when Mars comes into this part of the chart. And then around the time of the full moon, actually also during this time, Venus is in a sextile with Pluto on the 2nd. This is Tuesday the 2nd. And so we've got the moon in the sign of Taurus. You're considering how you co-create with other people. And there's something of your story that has been very powerful and allowed you to transform. But you might also be asking, how does that impact how I co-create with other people? Because that's also coming up as a bit of a challenge. So where you're working with other people, are they working with you because of what they already know about you? And your agreed shared history, like there's this understanding of, oh, I know that person and this is how they work. Because right now you're wanting to shake off all those reputations, shake off all that ideology and step into your own power. So there's that coming up. As you're coming into the full moon, which is on Thursday the 4th, the moon is in the sign of Gemini, which is in your 12th house. Now, the 12th house is interesting because this is a place where programming comes to die in many ways. The first house represents the first part of the story, and the 12th house represents the end story where you're really letting go of things. And so we've got the full moon, which is in opposition to the sun, and it's also square to the north node and also the south node. So again, this theme of leaving behind some of the programming of your childhood that you probably felt safe in, whilst heading into a different kind of programming, showing you your future. And it's one that requires freedom and space and a bit of adventure and a sense of serenity and a sense of greater purpose. So you're looking for a lot more meaning. And so as this full moon comes up, and this full moon will come up once a year, usually, occasionally happens twice a year, but it's always at this time of year. As this full moon comes up, you're in a very, very reflective state of mind. This is a place where if I was in your shoes, I think I would kick my boots off, lie back a little bit and just have a quiet day or two to journal, to go deep inside, not to spend too much time around other people and all of their expectations of me. I would find a way to get as free as I can and kind of wonder a little bit about who I'm becoming and really to tune into what feels really nice for me. And this is, I think, important because at the same time as this full moon is going on and all these questions about the past versus the future and how it might offer you greater freedom, at the same time this is happening, there's this great grand water trine taking place in your 1st, your 5th, and your 9th house, also emphasizing your need to express yourself fully. That's Jupiter in the 1st house, Mercury, and to some extent Venus across your 5th and the 6th. There's this need for you to work with passion, and Saturn and Neptune in the 9th, which is really encouraging you to live on your own terms that have come from your own spiritual volition, not because you've inherited them from somebody else. And so, yeah, I actually think the full moon could be a time of deep reflection. Now, straight after that, on the 5th, which is Friday, there's the sun continues to be in this square with the nodes, suggesting that your personality is really ready to let go of that old mantle and to move forwards. And then Mars comes into a lovely trine with Chiron, reminding you that actually who you are is based on the action you take. It's not based on what other people have decided. Oh, this is that person. Like, this is what you are. This is really like, I am my actions. How I choose to act with passion and freedom and adventure. That is what is determining my mission in life. That's how I know what's true for me. And so I do think there's a reminder of who you are. Just ask yourself, well, what am I doing right now? What am I absolutely excited about doing? That is speaking of your mission more than everything that you've reputationally agreed upon. And then we come up to Saturday and Sunday. So it's the 6th and the 7th. By this time, the moon has come into the sign of Cancer. It's your 1st house. This is a time when you wear your heart on your sleeve a lot more than usual. And what I really like about it is the moon, as we come to this end point, the moon is coming into this lovely trine with Saturn, a trine with Neptune, a conjunction with Jupiter, and also a trine with Mercury. This lovely grand water trine of the freedom, the expression, the sense of a new, evolving, more spacious you. That's how we're leaving this week. So whatever struggle or questions you have about yourself, I would say by the end of this week, this is about you coming into softness, coming into more tenderness, self-care, coming into nourishment. And yeah, I just think you're so much more conscious of who you are as an entirety. And so just to quickly pace you through it again, at the beginning, I think when the moon's in Taurus, I think you're learning about how other people are seeing you and what they want from you. I think around the time of the full moon and into the 5th, that's Thursday and Friday, I think you're very reflective. You can see how far your reputation is taking you, and you can see where it feels false or fake and it's not matching your own behavior patterns. And then as you're coming into Saturday, 6th and 7th, I think you're recognizing who you are, you're enjoying it, you're going with the flow and being quite nourishing with it. So I hope that's helpful for you. If you've enjoyed the way I've delivered this to you, Cancer, and if you see the value in it, then you might choose to join my membership, where I teach 3 times a week, and also where I am I say teach 3 times a week. That's from January, but I do regular sessions already. I also do extra forecasts, if that's of interest. But if you would like me to sort of pay attention to your chart in this kind of way, where we take your chart apart, we look at it from all angles, really go deep into the meaning of everything, then just get in touch and request to work with me. I'm right now looking to work with people in an astrological mentorship where we work once a month together. And if that sounds like it's you that wants to do that, then just get in touch. All of my details are below in the show notes, but also on my channel page. So whether I work with you or not, I wish you have an absolute beautiful week ahead. And yeah, this is a time of self-discovery and you're coming to the end of a major pattern. So lots of love to you. Take care and catch you next time. Bye for now.